the thought that came to my mind, and this was also because the relationship was coming up a lot. Like, I don't know who I am really. Like,
Because she asked
and
you that one powerful question. What do you
yeah,
want?
yeah, exactly. What do you want? And then that started like tearing me up from the inside, but in a great way in the long run. Of
Yep.
like, it was the start of like self inquiry before I even knew what that was. But
It's
I just
amazing, isn't it? Yep.
yeah, right. It was like this. It was that. It was just like calling into the universe, like saying, "Okay, I really want to know who I am." I didn't think of this at the time, but again, I've looked back at it and I've listened to other people talk about, how they had these illnesses brought on, when they asked for certain things from the universe. And I remember I was just, yeah, desperate to know. I realized I was like, I have no idea who I actually am. I've played all these roles, I've done all these things, but I actually have no clue who I am. So then the whole thing, I dropped out of university because of my health, because I was doing a lot of research into chronic illness. So I was looking at long COVID, and I was looking at like chronic fatigue syndrome, and this sent me down a spiral of fear and uh shutting off like from the world,
Yep.
because I was taking on all this fear from online of
Yes.
what it meant to be uh yeah, like this other, the fear of
Oh
the health
yeah.
of the symptoms. And yeah,
It's
so
it was real. And actually that's when in 2019, yeah, in 2020 I started a community online for people from all over the world so we could get truth and get to the heart of it,
mm,
because like you, there was so many people spiraling
mm,
from the immense amount of fear from
yeah,
all sides. So it was
yeah,
just, like you were looking, we were, yes, the medical and the government and everybody would had a perspective. And then there
yeah,
was also this underground, and it was also filled with fear. And that's what you start
yeah,
tapping into. Because the moment you're like, I want more information about long COVID, I
yeah,
want more information about chronic fatigue, that's when you're sitting there and now you're playing. And I call it kind of playing in fire, because there's a
yeah,
lot of people who get so angry at what they
yeah,
find, and then they take that anger and then they spew the anger instead of focusing on the truth.
yeah, yeah, so
And
true.
it's
Yeah,
so destructive, because
yeah,
all you're doing, so anger is fear, period.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's great, because whenever I'm angry, I'm like, okay, what am I really scared of? Okay, perfect, move on. Like, then you can deal with it
yeah,
and move on, which is great. But most people don't do that. They don't understand that
yeah,
anger is fear. They just sit in the anger, and then they hold this, what I call self-righteous indignation, and they sit in that
mm,
place of, I'm right and you need to prove to me why you're doing all of this crap.
mm,
And then it becomes this he said, she said.
mm,
And it was like thick tar, right? Weeding between, trying to figure out
mm,
what the heck's true, what's not. And
mm,
that spiral was a really dark place for so many people who wanted more truth. So
right, right, yeah,
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 I love though that you were looking outside the box. You were
yeah,
looking at, you picked up a book and then you started listening to a podcast that were
mm,
outside of your normal, what you would have
yeah,
normally
yeah,
gone through. And to your point, they changed your beliefs. And
yeah,
that's the most important thing humans can do. If
yeah,
you want to change your life, you change your beliefs,
yeah,
period. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, eventually, yeah, I got to the like exploring belief on a deep level, but that came a bit later. But what you said about like the fear and the anger online, I was actually talking with somebody about this recently, about the things that, the COVID, that how it affects the nervous system. And I was like, one of the biggest things that I've realized that affected the nervous system so much wasn't just the actual virus of COVID. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened there, but it was way, way more the societal fear that was happening at the time. I was like, you're getting all of this kind of input, that because there was a societal fear
oh
around the
yeah.
virus. Like I don't know, yeah, what
Oh,
the
massive. We
what
were where we are in Canada, in Ontario. We had the longest lockdowns in North America.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. So we're living the dream over here. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
know exactly what you're talking about. It was,
yeah,
um, yeah, the mental game was very strong on the
yeah,
manipulation part for sure, for sure, for sure.
yeah, exactly. And then that I was talking about somebody like that also had this like these health struggles, and it was like the input that your mind now has what this virus is. It's like, oh, okay, so this is an incredibly dangerous virus, and now, and again, I said I don't understand it exactly, but I started to realize that yeah, a lot of it has to do with the input I was taking in about like. So then I got the virus, and then that's why I was like so uh any weird symptom that I was getting, I was like, what is this? I don't know what COVID is, and I don't know why it's making, all of this happen. And then yeah, then that fear expanded as I went into these online communities now, like the ME/CFS communities and the long
Oh.
COVID communities. I was like going into these, yeah, very dark, and like you said, that like I see it because I've gone back into those spaces now from a very different perspective to try and work with people, and it's anger, right? That's what I feel when I go there now, is like there's anger, but then they'll just project it onto anybody that tries to challenge their beliefs, because it's like, yeah, you can't just accept, like you said, it's like the truth, and then instead of accepting it, you'll kind of, yeah, just have this anger with, as you said, is fear as well.
And
So
it, it's really cool because I had a conversation about this morning, which I love, is we as humans, and I think you'll understand because this will also go back to your whole journey.
mm,
When anything challenges who we are, it never just challenges one piece.
mm,
So it's like if there's a new concept that someone wants to bring to the table, right? If that one concept, like let's say there was an issue in the COVID situation, right? And so if a medical doctor then had to challenge, like, are we really doing the right thing? Is
yeah,
this, what's really going on? But for them to challenge that means that they would have to challenge their entire belief system about all the years
mm,
they put into their education,
mm,
all the hundreds of thousands of dollars they put into their education, and then starting up their practice in whatever capacity that is. They also
yeah,
would then have to challenge, the foundation that they have that, potentially cares for their entire family. They may be the only, sole provider. So
mm,
it's understanding, like the anger is so many layers thick. And
yeah, yeah,
instinctually, like when you were like, what do I want? That's why that question put you into a spiral, because you're like, I have no freaking idea what I want. And
yeah,
yet I'm busy here and here and here and here. And I'm doing all this and I'm doing all this, but none of it is bringing me joy. And that's where you, like you kept saying, like, I'm
mm,
not being authentic. I'm
mm,
just showing up and I'm being a shell. You are an automatic pilot. But that question brought you into that
mm,
spiral. You see what I mean?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fascinating, right?
yeah.